a topic, a very central topic. We'll call it Torah Eretz Yisrael. There's a deep connection between the Torah and the land of Israel. And this connection must be understood before we can achieve a true understanding of the Torah and the mitzvot. Actually, Rashi points this out in the beginning of the Torah, right? The first Rashi on the Torah, it says, why did the Torah start with the Breshit, Bara, God creating the earth, and the story of the fathers, and the promise of Eretz Yisrael to them? Why not start off with this week's parasha? Parashat Bo is the first mitzvah that the Jews were commanded as a nation. To start off the book, the Torah is not just the book of laws, but the Torah is the divine guidance, how to attach our lives, align our lives to something much greater, to the divine, to the truth, to attach the finite to the infinite, to the eternal values and truth. So again, the Torah, I like to call the word hora'ah, derech, the showing the way, the roadmap. So it should start with the first commandment, how the nation does the mitzvah. The first mitzvah is of the new month, right? Sanctifying the month, right? This will mean the month shall be the first of the month. We have in this week's parasha, in Parashat Bo, in chapter 12 in Shemot. But what about all that precedes that? So Rashi says, because he declared to his people, he brings a verse from Tehillim, God declared to his people the strength of his works, or that he might give them the heritage of the nations. What does that mean? For should the peoples of the world say to Israel, right, the famous first Rashi on the Torah, that if the nations should say, perchance, maybe some wild claim that the nations might have in the future, that to say that you're robbers, thieves, you've conquered the lands of other people. It's hard to believe that would ever come up, but that Rashi said, that possibility, that in the future the nations might say, it's not yours, you stole the land of Israel. So Israel can answer them that all the earth belongs to the God. He created it and gave to who he wanted to give it to. When he willed, gave it to them. And when he willed, he took it from them and gave it to us. In other words, the whole book of Breshit is to teach us the significance, the possession that God created the world, and he determined how to run history and run the world, and how to give the land of Israel to the Jewish people. So, in order to understand the mitzvot, before we get to the mitzvot, Rashi says first we have to know the connection between the chosen land and the chosen people. That this is the precondition for the Torah, understanding Eretz Yisrael. Again, Breshit is the whole book of Am Yisrael and the land of Israel that was promised to the fathers and to their seeds thereafter. So this is very important to, therefore it starts the Torah with the book of Breshit and those two things, of the nation of Israel and the land of Israel. So too we see in the prayers that before we read the Torah on Shabbat, before we take out the Torah, we say, among other things, Av harachamim, heitiva birtzoncha Tzion tivnei chomot Yerushalayim. We say, Father of mercy, do good in your favor of Zion. You have favor to Zion. Build the walls of Yerushalayim. What's that got to do? We're about to read the Torah. And first we have to say that God have mercy, that your love, your desire for Zion, build the walls of Yerushalayim. What's that connected? And also we go on, right? Ki mitzion, the next verse from Yeshayahu. Not the next verse, really, but he being so Aaron, Moshe, and Ki mitzion, from Zion, brought Torah, the word of God from Yerushalayim. Again, this connection of Torah coming out from Zion. What is this connection? Actually, the Torah itself, let me bring the Chumash, in Dvarim. The Torah itself, in the beginning of Dvarim, says how the ultimate goal, Dvarim, the book of Dvarim. Tanakh is good, okay. Todah. The book of Dvarim opened, we think that the giving of Torah, the Sinai, receiving the Torah, that's the main event, which isn't a main event, it is essential. But the Torah itself says that's not the goal, that's not the ideal. It's not enough just to receive the Torah. In the beginning of Dvarim, it says how Moshe now summarizes all of what took place. He spoke to all of Israel, the other side of the Jordan. He's not going to go in. He's not going to merit to go in. He prayed 515 prayers to go in to enable him just to enter the land of Israel. Just what the rabbis explain, what prayer and what he asked and what. So he says all the different events, and he said he spoke to them, everything that Hashem commanded them. And he says, God spoke to us in Horeb. What's Horeb? Sinai. The Mount Sinai, saying, enough. I'm reading the translation here. Don't read it in Hebrew. Rav lachem shevet b'har hazeh. It's enough. It's already too much. Rav lachem. It's too much that you're sitting in this mountain of Sinai. Turn yourselves around and go. Come to the Amorite. Go to Eretz Yisrael. Go to the Arava, the mountain, the lowland. Go to Eretz Yisrael. I've given you the land before you. Come and possess the land. You're staying at Har Sinai. You're amazed by this amazing otherworldly experience of exposure to the divine, the direct revelation. But the goal is, and the rabbis point out, the Al-Sheikh HaKadosh, the Kli Yakar, how they explain this, where maybe we'll see it inside sometime, but now just Rav Lachem Shevet, it means it's enough, you're sitting here. One explains that it's a very big thing indeed, saying here, Rav Lachem, it's a very great phenomenon, that receiving the Torah. But now, Pnulasen, now get up and go to where the goal is to live that Torah in the land of Israel. The other Kaplan explanation says a little bit different. He says, Rav Lachem Shevet, you think it's a small thing, the fact that you want to stay at the mountain? It's a tragic sin. Therefore, get up and go. Because the goal is not to stay here, to be religious outside of Eretz Yisrael. Here, the goal is to receive the Torah, indeed, and now to be fulfilled in Eretz Yisrael, which you see over and over again in the verses throughout the book of Dvarim in the beginning. Go say to the people of Israel, these are the commandments and statutes I teach you in order to keep them. Ba'aretz, in the land that I have promised you. Over and over again. Over and I don't want to start reading it now. Again, these are the commandments, the statutes that God commanded you to teach you to do them in the land that you're crossing over to possess. Over and over again in these verses from the book at the beginning of Dvarim. So the point is that the Torah itself emphasizes this connection of the Torah and Eretz Yisrael, that we have to do it to fulfill it here. Why? Actually, the Khatam Sofer points out also from last week's parasha, I believe, chapter 6, in Shmot. It says, I'll bring you into the land of Israel, which I swore to you, to give it to you for a morashah, a heritage. And also in Dvarim 33 it says, Moshe commanded us, right? Commanded us the Torah, the morashah, for an inheritance to congregation of Yaakov. And the Khatam Sofer says the two morashah, these two inheritances, two possessions, two eternal possessions that go together, the Torah and Eretz Yisrael, they're both called morashah. The question is, what is the essence of this connection? That's what I want to discuss a little bit, the depth of this connection. So you have the first source on the sheet, the upper right corner, from the Midrash Rabbah, Breshit Rabbah, chapter 16. It says on the verse that the gold of the land was good. There it talks about the rivers that surrounded. What do they surround? They were the borders of Eretz Yisrael, the 4 rivers that are mentioned there. And then it says, and the gold of the land is good. What's this gold of the land? The rabbis say, Melamed she'ein, well, it's underlined, right? Melamed she'ein Torah ki Torah Eretz Yisrael. Ve'ein chokhmah ki chokhmat Eretz Yisrael. There's no Torah like the Torah of Eretz Yisrael, and there's no wisdom like the wisdom of Eretz Yisrael. The question is, what is this Torah Eretz Yisrael? We've been learning Torah for thousands of years, all over the world. We're studying different books in Eretz Yisrael. What is the Torah of Eretz Yisrael? Different books. What's missing in the Torah of outside the land? And the rabbi said that the superiority of the Torah of Eretz Yisrael, there's no Torah of the Torah of Eretz Yisrael. What's this Torah? Again, a different book, a different study, a different... So you might think it's a quantitative difference, the mitzvot. That there's many mitzvot you can't fulfill outside the land of Israel. So you might think that, wow, so the Torah of Eretz Yisrael, meaning there's no Torah that you can fulfill all the commandments in Eretz Yisrael, all the commandments only in Eretz Yisrael. The sacrifices, the temple, all the different laws, the Shemitah, Yovel, all the different laws that only apply to the land of Israel. So you might think that that's the difference. The truth is, the rabbis point out that in Hebrew, the term of mitzvot atliot ba'aretz, how would you translate that? Mitzvot hatliyot baaretz. Commandments that depend on the land. And the rabbis didn't say the land that depends on the mitzvot. No, the land's holiness is due to the mitzvot. You might have thought, if this mistaken understanding, like I'm saying it's not, that it's a quantitative difference, the amount of mitzvot. So the land is holy. Why? Because the mitzvot you can do therein. And since today you can't do so many mitzvot, you can't. We also don't have the temple today. We don't have different Shemitah and Yovel from the Torah. So as if there's no difference. Today there's no any difference between the Torah, the Eretz Yisrael, and outside the land. But like I said, the rabbis didn't call it the land that depends on the mitzvot. That if you can do the mitzvot, the extra mitzvot, the full 613, then that's what makes the land holy. No. The rabbis point out that it's the mitzvot that depend on the land. The land has an intrinsic holiness. The land of Israel has an independent, not because of the mitzvot. This intrinsic divine, the connection of God to this land, as it says in Dvarim chapter 11. You believe me, this is the eyes of God are upon this land from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. This is the place where God created that receives and expresses and reveals His name, His ideal, this good that comes to the world, this conduit, so to speak, of the infinite, where space and beyond space meet, like the bridge between the divine, the absolute, and this world. This bridge of connects this world to the divine. And because of that unique significance and unique holiness, that's why there's so many mitzvot that can be done only here. It's not because of the mitzvot it becomes holy. Because of the holiness of the land, therefore they require certain commandments to express and fulfill that unique holiness. Outside the land, they don't have that same holiness. You don't need these mitzvot. But here the land is so holy, it requires to be expressed, to be fulfilled in our world. We have to bring down these holy lights and energy through the commandments. But that's unique to the land of Israel. So there's a qualitative difference of the land of Israel. As we'll see, that the land of Israel also enables this special vision, perspective, reality that is unattainable outside the land of Israel. The second source, Bava Batra, this is the Gemara in Talmud Bavli, a discussion regarding the rights of inheritance. If someone dies, if the son inherits it, it's an intricate. But there's an argument between Rav Zera and Rav Ela of who gets this inheritance. So what you have underlined, there was an argument between the two, and then it says, before it's underlined, in the end of the second line after the Gemara, Ki Salik Rav Zera, the fifth line from the bottom. When what's Salik? Ole. What's Ole? When you went up. When you go, where do you go up? Nikaliyah. Eretz Yisrael is considered up, not because it's higher than the Everest. It's higher. It's the spiritual loftiness. When he went up to Eretz Yisrael, Rav Zera, he agreed with the opinion of Rav Ela. Oh, he changed his mind. He differed with him before. Rav Zera, we'll talk about him, where he made Aliyah and the unique sayings of Rav Zera, what he did to get to Eretz Yisrael. How, when he came to Eretz Yisrael, he changed his mind. He retracted, and went according to the view of Rav Ela. Excuse me. Kam b'shitei Rav Ela, kam Rabba b'shitei Rav Zera. Now it's underlined. Amar Rav Zera, we see from this, Shma mina avirat Eretz Yisrael machkim, that the air of Eretz Yisrael makes wise. Rashbam comments on the Gemara here. Rav Zera retracted his original view since he came up to Eretz Yisrael and stood on the truth of the matter. He stood on the truth of the matter. When he came to Eretz Yisrael, he saw things differently. He saw the truth of the matter, the bigger view. That's why he changed his mind. And that's what the rabbis say. We see from this that the air of Eretz Yisrael makes wise. It doesn't just change his mind. The rabbis attribute it to the special atmosphere, as we'll see, the special vision that enables to see what does he say there, Rashbam? The truth of the matter, the bigger picture. That is what is available in Eretz Yisrael. The question is, what is the special element in the oxygen and the air of Eretz Yisrael? What makes it so different that enables this, the unique Torah of Eretz Yisrael, and the vision that you see things differently, clearer? So emunah in general, we say emunah, is, so to speak, belief in God, but not just belief in God, is seeing the divine in all, seeing the bigger truth of reality, the divine source of all, even though in this world it's concealed. We live in the world what's called the world, the word world is, how do you say world?
Olam.
Olam. It's from the root of the same word as he'elem. He'elem is like ne'elam, concealed, hidden. The world conceals it. You don't see the divine. You see multiplicity of a variety of people, events, things. It's all independent, multitude of pieces, whatever. You don't see the divine, the one source that created all, that gives life to all, that gives meaning all, direction of all, where everything is going. That's where emunah is, that vision that enables you to see that holistic view, that the divine, in other words. The rabbis call this world the Alma de Piruda, the world of separation. Right? It's all separate and scattered branches. You don't see the roots. But there's a possibility, there's something that enables what of course used to call the view from the roots above. Like the Maral calls it, an upside down tree. The roots above, the trunk, so to speak, the source, and then it diffracts whatever into different branches, and then spread different, what we call the reality here, different people, events, history. But the world of separation, Alma de Shikra, the world of falsehood, because we don't see the true source of it all, how they're all connected, they're all part of a unified orchestra with working together, all branches of one, singing one great song of goodness, of holiness, of God's name in this world. Emunah is that ability, like I said, to perceive the connection, so to speak, all like there was the game, we still have these pictures with dots, the dotto, what is it called, dotto? The numbers, the dots with different numbers, and if you connect the dots, according to the order, like 1, 2, 3, 4, you end up with a picture or something, right? At the beginning, all you see dots with numbers, and if you know how to connect the dots, then you end up with a picture of an animal, whatever you see there, whatever they. Emunah, the ability to connect the dots. In history, there's many phenomena that take place, things that make noise and they're very spectacular, but aren't really the things that shape history. The things that are the crucial events, that the trend, the goal, where God is taking the world. To see that, it takes a special vision. The third source on the sheet, you have the bottom and right. Amar Rav Yossi Bar Chalafta. Rav Yossi Bar Chalafta, the son of Chalafta, Rav Yossi, says to his son, Rabbi Ishmael, you wish to see the Shekhinah in this world? To see the divine presence, the divine hand in this world, in reality, in the world of separation and scattered and multiplicity, variety, diversity. Where do you see the one? Where do you see the hand of God? Where is the direction? Where are we going? Where is Hashem? He said, if you wish to see it in this world, the Shekhinah in this world, outside of this world, the angels are after death, whatever, when we're no longer limited to the body, the physical, the borders, you'll see the truth. The curtain goes up and you see this unified picture, you see the divine. But in this world, you wish to see the Shekhinah, God's presence. In this world, what's the secret? What does it say? Asok. No one's looking inside. Asok beTorah. The second line. Asok beTorah be'eretz Yisrael. Learn Torah in Machon Meir. Learn Torah in Eretz Yisrael. That's the key to enable you to see this vision, this holistic vision there. Like I said before, the roots, the view from the roots above. The roots are one. There's one source. One. Atam Achet Kulam. You give life to all, direction to all, the meaning and purpose, and the unbelievable goal, the divine ideal of how to see all that. We see problems and disease and suffering and we mentioned last week in the Shemot, at the end of Shemot, the beginning of Vayera, right? Shemot was Moshe says after he sent to Paro, let my people go. And he says to him, and now things get even worse. Why'd you make it worse? Since you sent me, things got even worse than they were before. History doesn't seem to be going in the direction towards goodness and betterness. Where's the redemption you promised? And then Hashem tells him, and then last week we read on Shabbat, Vayera, the whole plan. There's I took you out of, take you out of your suffering and gave you and saved you from this, redeemed you from that, and ultimately I'll bring you to Eretz Yisrael. It's a long process. Divine hand is working all the time, even when you don't see it. It doesn't seem to be going the way you might have thought. It doesn't make sense. It's going backwards. Lama harayota. Why did you, Moshe Rabbeinu? Why did you do bad? Why did you make it worse even? Why did you send me if it's going to get any worse? There's a divine plan that's working all the time. And the ability to see that, and not just to say, we all believe it, we say, we know, but to feel it, to see it, the vision to see the divine, to see the hand of God. That is not, again, some, what do they call it, some abstract belief. I say I'm intellectual, I'm rational, you believe. Whatever, just belief in something. The emunah is a vision, it's a sight, you see. It's not hopeful, I don't know, you religious people are weak and you need something to hold on to, some belief into something to give. To see the real truth of the world, what's really behind, what's really pushing history, where really are we going, what's the true undercurrent, the true meaning of this world that we live in. Not that there's a God, but also this world. What's the meaning of this world? What's taking place? What's really, how, again, is bringing it all to this ultimate good. He says, learn Torah in Eretz Yisrael. So again, what is this advantage of Eretz Yisrael? What is it? How does it give us this perspective? How does that see the roots, the view from the roots above? Because usually we see the world from the branches. Like I said, the multiplicity, the world as it is, what's in front of us. And they're all hidden. It's all random. It's all nature. It's all laws of nature and the laws of nations, rise and fall. To see the Shekhinah, so we have to understand what is it that Eretz Yisrael enables this unique perspective and vision and emunah. So, one more source on the left, upper left. This is from the Sifri. This is Midrash Halacha. The rabbis, right, well, there's Midrash Agadah, and there's Midrash Halacha. What the laws are, how they're connected to the written law, how the laws are, like, so to speak, connected. And here, it brings a verse from Mishlei, chapter 8, that it says, the highest part of the dust of Tevel, Rosh Afrot Tevel. The rabbis say that what is the Rosh Afrot? What is the head of the dust of the world? It's Eretz Yisrael, where it's underlined in the bottom last three lines. Tevel, this Tevel, usually the dust of the Tevel means the world, the earth, the world. But here the rabbi said, no, it's talking about Eretz Yisrael. So why is it called, the rabbi says, why is it called Tevel? Why do you use that terminology, the phrase used to call the land of Israel Tevel? The rabbi say, Al Shem Tavlin Shebetocha, because of the unique spice that is in the land of Israel. There's a unique spice, something that gives very taste and very special, how do you say, ingredient in the land of Israel. What is this unique tavlin, spice, that is found only in Eretz Yisrael? Zot Torah, the Torah. The rabbis say, again based on the verse in Echa, Bagoyim ein Torah. Amongst the nations there's no Torah. The verse in Lamentations, right? Echa chapter 2. You might think amongst the nations there's no Torah. They weren't given Torah, the 5 books, whatever. Here it doesn't say that the nations, non-Jews, don't have Torah. It says, Mikan Shatorah be'Eretz Yisrael. From here we see that the Torah is in Eretz Yisrael. Not the people, in the land of the nations, there's no Torah. And the Torah is in the land of Israel. You see, that's a unique spice. What's the unique spice that is unique to the Eretz Yisrael? The Torah. That's unique to Eretz Yisrael. How can we say this? How can the rabbis say this? Torah is only in Eretz Yisrael. The Torah, the Talmud Bavli, that we just quoted from, and we'll see other sources from the Talmud Bavli. The rabbi for 2,000 years, our great saintly rabbis and scholars throughout history, and all the Jews learning Torah outside of Israel. You can take the book outside. So what's the difference? Again, what we began. There's no Torah to Torah of Eretz Yisrael. What's this? What is this uniqueness? What is this? That there's no Torah outside the land. Mikan, from here you see the Torah's in Eretz Yisrael. There's Torah outside the land. Look at all the yeshivot outside. So here, again, we have to understand what they're referring to. So here's a very strong and amazing, interesting source from, again, the next source, from the Talmud Bavli. The Babylonian Talmud, in Chagiga, page 5b. The verse, they learn out from the verse in Yirmiyahu 13. And my eye, Dema didma, teiraydena edima. I read in English. And my eye shall shed tears, and run down with tears, because the flock of God was taken into captivity. Ki nishba eder Hashem. The flock of God. Who's the flock of God? Right? We're taken into captivity. But it says, my eye shall have tears, and run down with tears. So Rabbi Elazar says, why are there three expressions of tears? Shalosh demaot halalu lama. Why does it say three times tears? As if God is crying over these three, these three tears. What are the three tears? Achat al mikdash rishon. One is the tears over the destruction of the first temple. Achat al mikdash sheni. One is on the second temple destroyed. And the Chat, and the third, is on Yisrael Shegalumim Koman, is on the Jews that went into exile from their place. Where's their place? Eretz Yisrael, land of Israel. So the third tier is on the Jews going into exile, being taken captivity outside of their land. That's a sorrowful, tearful, tear-jerking event, that the Jews are outside the land, as we said, holding up the name of God from coming fulfillment to bring the good and the blessing to all of mankind, all of creation. That's something to cry about. Another opinion says, the third is on Bitul Torah. The tear that God crying for the loss or the negation of Torah. Bitul Torah, right? The loss of Torah, the lack of Torah, that's what the third tier is on. So the rabbis say, the Gemara says here, Bishlam, it makes sense. Maybe you would tell me which opinion makes sense. The verse said, I cry three tears because the flock of God was taken into captivity. So one opinion says the third tier is on the exile, the Jews that were taken into captivity. One says on Bitul Torah. What's the obvious question about that second opinion? They learn it from this verse. The verse says, what? On the Jews, or the flock of God that was taken into captivity. So that makes sense, the first opinion, that's what the rabbis say here. It makes sense, the first opinion that says the Jews were taken into captivity, they went to their exile from their place. That's what the verse says, they're taken into exile, Jews out of their place. But the second opinion, Bitul Torah, where'd that come from? It says the Jews were taken in exile. What's that got to do with Bitul Torah? In other words, it should say because of the other verses, Al-Azam Torah, that they left my Torah. They didn't. Here the verse says explicitly what it's crying over. The Jews taken into captivity. So going into exile is what the verse says. But the second opinion says, no, it's talking about the loss of Torah. So what do the rabbis answer? How is that learned from the verse? Look inside where it's underlined. But the verse says that the flock of God taken into captivity. The rabbis say, again, the emphasis is mine, the lines here. It's not in the Gemara. Kevan shegalu Yisrael mimkomam, since the Jews were exiled from their place, ein lecha bitul Torah gadol mizeh. You have no greater bitul Torah, loss of Torah, negation of Torah than this. The very act, phenomenon of exile, the Jews outside their place. What the verse says, it's talking about the exile, indeed. But what's the meaning of that exile? What's the outcome? What's the tearful ramifications? Bitul Torah. That's the end of Torah. That's the loss of Torah. Be the nullification. Actually, maybe bitul, a better translation. Nullification of Torah. What do you mean nullification of Torah? This is in the Talmud Bavli, the rabbis in Bavel, and they equate. Since the Jews go into exile, you have no greater nullification of Torah than this. How can they say that? They themselves are the embodiment of fulfillment, continuation of Torah, flourishing and learning in the outside of Israel. So I said, if it's only the mitzvot that we said before, that it's not just that. The mitzvot, we said, are the outcome because of the holiness of the land. You're saying there's less mitzvot that we can do outside the land, and that's the bitul. So here it is, the quantity. In other words, the fact that we can't do all the mitzvot, yefeh. Ein lecha bitul, you have no greater loss of Torah than this. So the different levels are like different ways to understand this. How exile itself constitutes a bitul Torah. We saw in Yechezkel, right? Yechezkel 36, the exile constitutes a chilul Hashem, desecration of God's name, which is the same thing. Maybe what you're saying, that the address of Torah is the nation of Israel, not individual Jews. Individual Jews can keep the Torah, learn Torah, but then the Torah was given first and foremost to the neshama, so to speak, is the soul, is the life force of the address, addressed to a nation. The Maharal in Tiferet Yisrael, the Maharal of Prague, in both chapter 17 and 21, he says, why wasn't the Torah given to Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, holy people, our forefathers? Why did they receive the Torah? Why did they wait till Sinai? He says that the Torah, again, is not a private affair. It's not given to individuals. It is the life force of a collective entity that God created to bring down His name in all of existence. A nation, right, as it says before the Ten Commandments, will be unto me a kingdom of priests and mamlechet kohanim v'goy kadosh, and a holy nation. The ideal is that a nation, holiness in the national total arena of human life, government, army, politics, agriculture, science, commerce, medicine, and all of that is holy. All of that reveals and exposes goodness, truth, justice in this world with all those functions, through all those functions. Individuals can be holy in their, what the Gemara says in Brachot, page 8a, in the 4 cubits. So the exile, God's name is now limited to the 4 cubits of halacha. The private domain, you in your kitchen, keeping Shabbat, kashrut, and learning Torah, is very good. That's the best you can do. But the name of God, as Yechezkel says, right, that's the big name of God, the full name of God, this light that comes down and illuminates a national entity. That's the minimum unit that expresses all of life. That God's name is revealed in all of life, not just the private domain, not just the 4 cubits, here, there, a piece here, whatever, but the full light of God, the full name of God, this truth, livable, as not only a viable option, however, the true flourishing emperor of a nation that lives with this neshama, this divine truth, is its blood, is its lifeline that gives it and expresses it in this world. So again, first and foremost, we're a nation, it's collective sanctification of God's name. And then from that, each one of us has an individual obligation. That's why like the Sfat Emet emphasizes what we say in the prayers. Some people say before each of the mitzvot, if it's in the Siddur or whatever. Before you put on tefillin, usually it's L'shem Yichud Kudshe Brichu. You've heard of that? In order to unify, as if the divine and the Shekhinah, the roots, so to say, the divine and its revelation in this world, the divine presence, to unify the name of God, Yud Kei Vav Kei, in the name of all of Israel, B'Shem Kol Yisrael. I'm doing this mitzvah. I'm about to put on tefillin and talit and all the mitzvot. B'Shem Kol Yisrael, in the name of all of Israel. What in the name of all of Israel? It's me, Moshe Kaplan. I'm putting on tefillin. Me and God, we have a relationship, and I love you. I believe in Him. I want to do Your will, and whatever intentions, levels of understanding. And no, the ideal, the true performance, and the true proper intention is understand that you're part of a collective obligation. You're part of a collective whole. You are fulfilling, you're a limb in this unbelievable body, this amazing body, that edifice that brings God's name and good to the world. And you're a part of that. You're a unique instrument in that orchestra. But it's not a private thing. Me, I'm the drum, just playing my tune. I'm part of a bigger unit, and the greatness and the divine is what's revealed in not just the private. The opposite. The divine is the all-encompassing, the white light before it goes into the pieces. It's this divine, absolute, total truth. That's in the name of all of Israel. So I'm part of that. I'm giving my individual part, but in perspective of and in context of the whole that I'm part of. In other words, my obligation stems from the fact that I'm a part of this bigger unit that receives the Torah, that fulfills the Torah. And that's why Yechezkel, what he says there, God says to Yechezkel, outside the land, it's a Chilul Hashem, it's the desecration, the inability to fully express my name outside the land, because that vehicle of the nation is broken down. And like you said, right, that you can't do the mitzvot outside the land, the collective mitzvot, the nation, all those. We don't have that. We don't have a government army. It's like a person without, God forbid, doesn't have a hand. He can't do the mitzvah of tefillin. In other words, outside of Israel, Jewish people, as we'll see, is not a nation. It's a bunch of individual Jewish people all over the world, but as individuals. And therefore, also the mitzvot, like you said, they can't do the mitzvot. They can't do the fulfillment of, on the technical side, of the mitzvot that they can't do. But it's more than the technical. I think it's beyond this to how many the mitzvot you can do, less mitzvot. But there's no nation, there's no vehicle that is the address, that is the vehicle that receives and expresses God's name in the world. So Yechezkel, God calls it, and Yechezkel tells Yechezkel that the galut is equal to, tantamount to a desecration of my name. My ideal cannot be revealed in the world in its fullness. My big name, over and over again, Yechezkel says, my big name, my great name. Individual, every mitzvah you do in New York is also, has a certain significance. The rabbis say it's like a remembrance, a rehearsal for the real thing. The Sifri, the rabbis say in the Devarim. But nevertheless, Rashi brings down in what we say every day in Kriyat Shema, chapter 11 in Devarim, that even outside the land, continue doing the mitzvot, so you shouldn't be nudity when you come back. But nevertheless, that's also Kiddush Hashem, sanctify God's name, brings a little light of God. But the full name of God, this total light that, again, the minimum unit that encompasses, that expresses all of God's name, all of life, is the nation. Outside the land of Israel, they're not a nation, we're individuals. We can't express that full name of God. So again, so it's also that there's certain mitzvot you can't do, but that's, I think, emanates, it's an outcome of the fact that there's no nation, there's no collective vehicle that receives this divine totality. And therefore you can't do the mitzvot also. But what the rabbis say here, since the Jews are exiled, the very fact of their exile from their place, you have no greater loss of Torah. The Torah being this divine guidance, this divine light that comes to the Jewish people as a nation in the land. When they're outside the land, this light is now withheld from being fulfilled and expressed fully. Again, there's little particles of light in every Jew and all over the world. But here, the rabbis themselves in the Talmud Bavli, that this is compared to the Torah of Eretz Yisrael, compared to the full vehicle of God's name, like we say over and over again, right? In Yeshayahu 43:21. Amzu yitzarti li tilati yitzapero. This nation have I created unto me, for me, to say my name in the world. I created a nation. It's not Jews can be holy individuals, spiritual, religious, moral, ethical individuals. That's, again, the Maral in Netzach is another book, in chapter 11, a very central chapter in the works of the Maral, of the distinction between the holiness of individual, holiness of the collective. So non-Jews can also be holy individuals. But what's unique, what comes through through the beginning of Avraham Avinu, that through you will be born the nation that is holy, that I create. It's not a man-made thing that is dependent on your free will. You volunteer, you want to be holy, you want to be spiritual, you utilize your free will and your intellect properly, guiding your life to connect to Hashem, to be good, to be moral. But that's up to you. That's a human, so to speak, accomplishment. But the nation of Israel, he says, is a kedusha klalit. The holiness of the nation of Israel is not a man-made, a volunteer, is God created. But again, the verse in Yeshayahu, this nation have I created unto me. This is the nation that now bears and houses this light, this energy that comes to the world through a nation. And then, again, from that gets the unique significance of each individual Jew that expresses that in his private life. But like the Maral says, the Torah was given to the nation. That's why it wasn't given to the fathers, as holy as they were. The address is the nation. We'll see another explanation. It's the same thing, another side of the coin you could say, but maybe a little bit deeper, of what is this bitul Torah? What is this loss of Torah? But that we'll save for next time. Any questions up till now? And there's much more, as we'll see. We have a few more sheets on this topic, very amazing. What's the uniqueness that we're sitting here learning Torah as if it's the same? It's a different reality. It enables you to see what cannot be seen, it cannot be attained. It's like someone on the top of a mountain that sees farther than the guy at the bottom. Maybe the same person. What, I'm smarter than the rabbis of Bavel or whatever. Not an individual distinction, as we'll see. The same rabbis, if they were in Eretz Yisrael, would be on a different level, a different vision. Like someone standing at the bottom of a mountain, he sees a certain, at the top of the mountain, his perspective is now greater. But It's what's called a necessary condition, without which you won't have that special vision. But it's not a sufficient condition. It's not enough just to be on the top of the mountain. It's not just enough to be in Eretz Yisrael. You have to be aware of it and use it properly. If you close your eyes at the top of the mountain, you also won't see so far. Understanding what is this learning about? What is the advantage of Eretz Yisrael? What is the potential, so to speak, what is available here? We have to rise up and use it properly. And if not, there's problems that come and the difficulties when you don't live up to who you really are. Then it doesn't stay idly. You have to either grow or, like the Vilna Gaon says in Mishnah, you don't stand in one place. You either grow or go backward. Yes.
I'm just curious if we see that with Sfarim that were written in Eretz Yisrael versus those written outside.
Okay, there's also a difference in the
Talmud
yes. There's also a difference on the technical level of the difference in the books themselves. Those from Eretz Yisrael and those outside, the Yerushalmi, the Bavli. There's also a difference, but we'll talk about that. But I wanted to get to first of all the inherent difference. Why is that? That itself, that difference stems from the fact that there's a different reality. It's a different dimension of reality. Eretz Yisrael is not another place in the world, better, higher, spiritual. It's a different reality. Like I said, it's not from this world. It's just like Am Yisrael is from beyond this world that comes into this world to raise this world beyond this world. It's something it's a divine creation. It's like Terra, what's it called? Anyway, with beyond super, I don't know, it's not nature. It's not in this world. It's like on Shabbat and time. It's the bridge between time and beyond time. It's a piece of what's not from this world, not just at one of the 7 days. Shabbat is a different dimension. Eretz Yisrael is not another special place, a central place in the global village, whatever. It's a divine essence that is revealed in this world. It's this bridge, like I said before, it's this bridge that enables this connection. So it's in this world, so to speak, but its essence, its truth, its source, its life, it's what comes to express, is not from this world. It's a different entity whatsoever, totally. And that's what enables all the rest, all the periphery, to connect to it and to rise up, just like Am Yisrael to the world, to bring blessing to all, not just for us. Right? It says to the fathers over and over again, all the nations of the world will be blessed through you. But that we'll talk about more. So again, we're talking about I would call it the inherent, the holiness, the divine essence. Later, it's revealed in all that you're talking about, the mitzvot and the books that are written here, the difference, the distinction. It's because of that inherent difference, right? Is how do you say root? The root difference. It's not the same. It's not from this world. It's totally but divine. In other words, it's not from here. It's the amazing thing is that it's like it says about the little sulam of Yaakov, the ladder, that its head is in heaven and its feet, the ladder reaches the earth. The amazing thing is that this planet has the bridge that connects this world and something much greater. And that's why the Torah of Eretz Yisrael is unique, and it brings about all the advantages you spoke about, the mitzvot and the different books and the value and the level. But that we'll see. Rav Kook has a letter about that, the difference between the Talmud, Bavli, and Yerushalmi, and the different division. But that we have a lot more to see. We have a few more sheets. B'ezrat Hashem, continue. It's a mincha.